Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Sever7, and today we are going to check out the Bober Blades Fifth Element. Now, that's with the ultimate goal of seeing if it's worth adding to your collection or your daily carry rotation. This was sent to me by Bober Blades. I do not get to keep it, which sucks because this is probably my ideal configuration for this knife, but that's okay. I'll end up getting one on my own anyway, so no big deal. Now, this was designed and custom made by Bober Blades. He's a one-man operation. And kind of the lens that I want you to, view this knife through is, with a custom knife, there's different levels of custom. But for this knife in particular, Bober Blades only uses manual machines. There's no CNC involved whatsoever. Outside of the screws, everything on this knife was cut, ground, heat treated, tempered, everything done by him, right? Everything on this knife he did, like I said, minus the screws. So, I spoke to him and he said that a knife can take him up to 30 hours to make since he does everything manually and he does it one at a time. There's no batch work here. So if he's working on a knife, that's all he's working on is that one knife. So I want you to keep those things in mind while we go through this. Jumping into the handle scales, we've got this really nice shipwreck fat carbon fiber. I think the cuts that he used are absolutely beautiful. A lot of gray, a lot of black, and then the teal and the orange or the peach rather, kind of get to act as accents. So I think it looks really good. We do have proud liners all the way around the scale. I know there's a term for that. I just can't quite remember what it is, but I think it looks really good here. Maybe it's called shadow boxing. I don't know. I actually don't know what shadow boxing is either. So if somebody can answer both of those questions for me, that would be great. We have a 50% backspacer, and then we've got a relatively deep carry milled titanium pocket clip. Has a super generous ramp, so this thing goes in and out of your pocket incredibly easy. We have a T15 for the pivot and then T8 for everything else. Now jumping into the ergonomics, we have overall a neutral profile, but something that makes this knife kind of really work in hand is this little back ramp right here. It's soft, it's not pointy, very smooth. And then the platform here on the pocket clip. Because whenever I hold this knife in hand, and I actually prefer a four-finger grip, and then I push on the poon. The two things that make contact with my hand are this little back platform, so it's really comfortable, and then the wide flat of the pocket clip, which means neither of those are hot spots, right? This knife is very comfortable in hand. Now I wear a large size glove, so I can get 4 fingers on the knife. If you are large size or smaller, this knife is going to be perfect. If you're XL, 2XL, this might be a 3-finger knife for you. But if you can get all 4 fingers on there, you're going to love it. If you've got a massive hand, though, and you're kind of holding it like this, not going to be quite as fun, right? So keep that in mind. But if you have my size hands or smaller, which I think most of you probably have my size, I think this is pretty average, then this is going to feel pretty great. Now, as far as the blade goes, we've got a nice harpoon Tonto rocking a hollow grind, and we have a beautiful belt satin executed really, really well. We are rocking Damasteel's RWL34. So while the blade isn't Damasteel, RWL34 is a Damasteel product. That's their proprietary steel. And a lot of custom makers use it. I believe that's because of supposedly it's really easy to work with, like really easy to Yeah, I'm actually not going to say any more than that because I am not 100%. But I'll say that what I've heard is that it's just really easy to work with. And maybe Bober can comment down below and educate all of us. Now, as far as the action goes, oh, and before I jump onto the action, keep in mind this whole blade was done by hand, right? So you're talking, you know, from a piece of steel stock, all the grinding, the tempering, sharpening, all of that stuff was done by him. So everything on this blade is the way it is because he manually made it that way. And I'm stressing that because there's a big difference between using machines and things like that to have it done automatically and then just touched up by hand. That's a lot different than somebody taking the time to go through and do everything meticulously by hand. And that difference shows through with the quality of the blade, with how long you can use it before you have to sharpen it, with the edge termination, the geometry, all of those things. They come into play in a much more detail oriented way. So, still keep those things in mind. Now, as far as the action goes, I think the action's fantastic, mainly because of these oversized thumb studs. And I'll show you an example. This is a similar size knife. And if you look, they're not even close. Like this thumb stud could fit directly inside of this thumb stud. And I mean, yeah, it's not even close. And I love this knife. It's a good knife, and the deployment and stuff on it's fine. But these are like ProTech TR3 level thumb studs, and they're just so comfortable, especially with the stepped milling and the fact that it doesn't come to a point. It comes to a nice rounded surface. Acoustics are good. The detent is on the higher side of medium. So if you're coming from the world of crossbar locks and button locks, this is going to seem tight. But if you're familiar with frame locks, liner locks, things like that, this is going to be right up your alley. Very positive snap on the way out. Nice little click on the way down. It's a single shake shut, maybe a two shake shut, depending on how you do it. But this knife has been just a fidget monster, and it's really just because of the thumb studs and the amount of force you're able to build up before that blade comes flying out. But overall, absolutely fantastic. Now we're gonna do some size comparisons. I also want to show you the card that comes with it. So you can pause here if you want to check out some of those details. And for size comparison, we're going to bust out the Civivi Brazen, milled aluminum, third best Civivi knife next to the Visions. And we can see we are essentially dwarfing, actually let me move it up because we don't use the glass breaker. We're essentially dwarfing the Fifth Element in size. Let's try with the Real Steel Sylph. All right, and even the Sylph is coming in a decent amount larger than the Fifth Element. And we're going to try one more, and that is the Migaron Gatov. And they're coming in about neck and neck. So overall weight is 3.4 ounces. All right, so what's the price on this guy, and is it worth it? So this knife comes in at a starting, like a base price of about 800 bucks. Now, if you're new to the knife world, or if you're shopping in the sub $200 category, 800 bucks is going to sound like a lot. And in reality, that's a lot. $800 is a lot for a knife, especially whenever you have things on the market like this that are $30. This is actually my budget knife of the year so far. So, what could possibly justify that price difference? Well, quite a few things. One, this is all American made, small batch, custom, premium, all American. This is pressed and stamped in China. Still a good knife, but it's not even comparable. Not only that, but instead of having 1,000 knives go through machines and just kind of get glanced at to make sure they're not falling apart, you have one person who is an expert at their craft dedicating 30 hours of their time to a single knife to make sure the tolerances are perfect, to make sure the fit and finish is, look how tight that is. Like, the tolerance on this knife are insane. Like, you don't have wasted space at all. Like, so, getting that level of detail, that level of precision over the course of 30 hours for somebody who's genuinely invested in each individual knife they craft and someone who has a passion for what they're doing, all of those things are directly communicated into the knife that they're making. So, what does that look like in real life terms? Well, you're going to get superior performance to a production knife. You have the ability to kind of build your own knife. Bober has different blade shapes he can work with. He has different onlay materials he can work with. So you don't just have to buy whatever is at the store. You can have him make you a custom knife that you almost kind of build together because you let him know what your preferences are, kind of what you're looking for. He'll let you know, like, what he thinks, what his options available are, what he can do, through his lens as a maker. And you kind of get to, like, when you get the knife from him, you can kind of be like, oh, I helped design this. And that's an awesome feeling to have. You also get things like, the it's a lot, but you get things like the highly precision blade grinds. You get things like the perfectly milled, tight fitment that you would expect from a custom knife. I mean, it's one of those things where you really have to have it in hand to truly understand what you're getting. But would I say this is justified at $800? Honestly, it should be more. I could see this going for much closer to 1,000, 1,100, kind of in that neighborhood. The reason it's priced as low as it is just because Bober doesn't have his name out there. He's not as well known as like your Prince Customs or your Usler, you know, NCC. He isn't out there as much. I mean, like, whenever you have consistent quality and consistent effort over time, the prices go up, right? Like, I don't think the Waka came out at, $2,000, right? I can't remember the name of the gentleman that makes it, but he probably had to start whenever he was first starting out. He probably started a lot lower in price until his name got out there, and then there was demand for his knife, and now they sell out pretty quickly, most places, for anywhere from $1,200 to $2,000. I've seen them go as high as $3,000, and they're still selling, right? So anytime you have consistent quality and consistent effort over time, the price will go up. As it sits right now, if we imagine he's putting 30 hours into a knife, and he's charging, say $800 for that base configuration, he's getting what I'll just roughly say $26 an hour. Now we have to remove the cost of materials, which are expensive because he's funding all of this stuff out of pocket. We have to remove the cost of materials, and we have to remove like the cost of his machines, like the bandsaw, the manual drill press. You know, we have to factor those things in. The cost of repairing those things if they break, stuff like that. We have to factor all those things in, and he's probably bringing home like 17 bucks an hour. And I'm pretty sure Walmart starts at like about that, right? Like 16 to 18 bucks an hour. So it's not like he's getting rich off this. I don't even know. I mean, he might be doing better than break even. But the only reason these knives are being made is because he has a passion for what he does. And every ounce of that passion absolutely pours through in this knife. So, yes, I would say at 800, it's basically a steal. 100%. If you're in this price range, you should be considering Bober blades. If you just bought your first $200 knife, this shouldn't even be on your radar, right? If you just need a knife to do knife things, something like this can absolutely work for you, right? You don't need to spend this much money to get a good, useful tool. But if you're already shopping in the 700 plus category, before prices go up, which over time, like I said before, they will, I would consider talking to Bober and building your knife with them. I know Jim Skelton did a review on it. He absolutely loves the Fifth Element, and I can see 100% why he does. So for me, this has been a daily carry. Once I order one of my own, it'll be a daily carry. Let me know down in the comments, is this a collection piece? Would it be a daily carry for you? Or does this knife completely miss the mark? Other than that, guys, if you liked the video, hit the like. Please subscribe. And until the next time, peace.